Hello students, I am VLN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Sciences, which is affiliated to Adikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry. Now I would like to discuss about third BSc Biochemistry, fifth semester, sixth paper, that is molecular biology paper. And the paper title is Molecular Biology and Recombinant DNA Technology. From this paper, from Unit 1, we have already discussed different topics like structure of the gene, DNA as genetic material, and the types of replication models, and experimental proof for the replication model, and also enzymes which are involved in the replication process. Okay, so now let's see about replication in detail. Okay, so let's start the topic replication. Firstly, for replication process we need few important requirements. Let's see about them. Requirements for replication: DNA template which is provided by the parent DNA. Okay, parent DNA will, one of the DNA strand which is present in the parent DNA will act as DNA template, and DNA polymerase 3 enzyme, helicase enzyme, gyrase enzyme, or we also call this gyrase enzyme as topoisomerase. Okay, and DNA primase, DNA ligase, single stranded binding protein, Mg+2 ions, polynucleotides like DATP, DGTP, and DCTP. So, these are the major requirements for the replication process. Okay, what are they? DNA template, DNA polymerase 3, helicase, gyrase, DNA primase, DNA ligase, single stranded binding proteins, Mg+2 ions, polynucleotides like DATP, DGTP, and DCTP. Okay, so this DNA template is nothing but the segment of DNA that is capable of DNA replication. Okay, this DNA template is nothing but it is a segment of DNA that is capable of DNA replication. Each DNA template has origin of replication at which replication begins. That means in the DNA template strand, there will be a sequence which we call it as origin of replication, and from this origin of replication sequence segment only, this replication will start. In E. coli, origin is indicated at the ORIC site. That means in the DNA template where this ORIC site is present, it is the origin site. This indicates the origin site, and it is around 245 base pair long, which are subdivided into two series of short repeats. That means it consists of 245 base pair length, and this is subdivided into two series of short repeats, and these two short repeats are present. These are sets of 3 repeats of a 13 base pair sequence, and another set of 4 repeats of a 9 base pair sequence. That means here the arrangement of this origin or ORIC site is, it totally contains 245 base pairs, and these are subdivided into two series of short repeats. Okay, and in these two repetitions of the short series, there will be different sets, and firstly 3 repeats of 13 base pair sequence will be present, and another set of 4 repeats of base pairs will be, of 4 repeats of 9 base pairs will be present. Okay, that means there will be 3 repeats of 13 base pair sequence and 4 repeats of 9 base pair sequence, and these two will combine to form a 245 base pair origin site, that is ORIC site. Okay, and this replication takes place in 3 steps: initiation, elongation, and termination. And first, let's see about the initiation. Initiation contains 3 steps: recognition of origin site. That means, as initiation will be started at the origin site, first recognition of this origin site is necessary, and binding of DNA helicase. Binding of DNA helicase will be carried, and third step is separation of double stranded DNA into single stranded DNA. So what will happen? This double stranded DNA is converted into single stranded DNA for the replication purpose. So what are the steps required for the initiation of DNA? Initiation of DNA replication, recognition of origin site, binding of DNA helicase to that particular origin site, and separation of double stranded DNA into single stranded DNA. Okay, the DNA replication begins at specific site known as the origin and recognized by binding of DNA protein. DNA protein will bind to the origin site, and this is the first step for the DNA replication. Okay, so DNA replication will bind at a specific site called origin site, and this is recognized by binding of DNA protein. It binds at 9 base pair inverted repeated regions of ORIC of E. coli. That means, as earlier we discussed, it consists of 4 sequences of, or 4 repeats of 9 base pair length and 3 repeats of 13 base pair length, and this DNA protein will bind to the 9 base pair region of this ORIC in E. coli. Okay, and promotes opening of DNA duplex at a region of 3 repeats of 13 base pair sequence in 13 multimeric repetitive sequence. Okay, what happens here? This DNA protein will bind at the 9 base pair repeated sequence, and due to this binding, what will happen? The DNA duplex or the double stranded DNA will be opened. Okay, that means complementary base pairing between the double stranded DNA will be separated, and there will be formation of a opening, and this opening will be formed at third base pair sequence repeats. Okay, and the next step is two enzymes, that is DNA gyrase. That DNA gyrase means topoisomerases. Okay, DNA gyrase is nothing but topoisomerase enzyme. It is the another name for the topoisomerase enzyme. And here two enzymes, DNA gyrase and DNA helicase bind to the origin point and induces the unwinding of DNA double helix. That means, after binding of DNA protein at the origin site, here DNA gyrase, that is topoisomerase, and DNA helicase will bind to the origin point and induces the unwinding of DNA double helix. Okay, that means this enzyme, this protein, DNA protein will bind at which region? This DNA A protein will bind at which region of the origin site? It will bind at the 9 base pair repeated sequence, and because of this 13 base pair sequence will be opened, and after that it will provide the attachment of DNA gyrase and DNA helicase, and unbinding of DNA will be followed, and this is known as melting. Melting means separation of double stranded DNA into single stranded DNA is called as melting, and it will be followed by the binding of DNA gyrase and DNA helicase enzymes. Priorly, this is initiated by the DNA A protein, and this will bind at the 9 base pair sequence of the origin site. Okay, so these are the series of reactions, series of events that will result in the melting process in parent DNA. Okay, and melting produces Y-shaped break at origin. Melting produces Y-shaped break at the origin, and break is located as each end of the origin. That means because of this melting process, a Y-shaped break at the origin will be formed. That means the two DNA strands of parent DNA will be turned into Y shape, and this is seen at the origin site, and break will be formed at each end of the origin. The Y-shaped fork is called as replication fork. Whatever the DNA strands which are in Y-shaped are called as replication fork. Okay. During the replication, the fork moves along the DNA. That means during the DNA polymerization process, this Y-shaped fork will move along the DNA during this polymerization process. Okay. For example, you can take zip as example for this. Okay. If you are moving the zip, what will happen? The two strands will be in Y shape, and those particular strands will be closed while we are moving the zipper. Okay, so simply in this manner only this Y-shaped fork will be moving throughout the polymerization process. Okay, and during the replication process the fork moves along the DNA, and if the replication fork is moved in only one direction, this is known as unidirectional replication. That means if replication fork is moving in only one direction, and this is called as directional replication. If replication proceeds in both directions, it is called as bidirectional replication. So if it is moving in, if the Y fork is moving in one direction, we call it as unidirectional replication. If the Y-shaped fork is moving in two directions, we call it as bidirectional replication. The single stranded binding protein bind to the separated strand to stop reassociation. That means what will happen next? After the formation of this DNA fork, single stranded binding proteins, these single stranded binding proteins will bind at the Y-shaped fork for separation of the reassociation of the to stop the reassociation of the strands, so that this replication will be carried. That means this single stranded binding proteins will allow the double stranded DNA to be in the Y-shaped fork position. Okay, that means for further replication process, that DNA double strand should be in Y-shaped for replication fork form. So to stabilize that replication fork, this single stranded binding proteins will bind at the Y-shaped fork and will stop reassociation of these two DNA strands. And the enzyme primase initiates replication to from 3' to 5' strands, and the enzyme generates 10 to 16 base pair nucleotide primer RNA by using ribonucleotide. As we discussed in the earlier classes, this DNA replication require a RNA primer. Okay, here a complementary RNA primer is required, and this particular primer is produced by the enzyme primase. Okay, and this enzyme primase will initiate replication of 3' to 5' strands, and this particular reaction will lead to formation of a 10 to 16 base pair nucleotide primer, which is a RNA primer. And for this uh, procedure, for this process, it uses ribonucleotide. Okay, this enzyme primase will utilize ribonucleotide, and in the 5 prime to 3 prime to 5 prime direction, it will produce a RNA primer, which length is 10 to 16 base pair. Okay, and it provides the free 3 prime OH at the 3 prime end. There will be a free hydroxyl group attachment. Okay, so here if you see the primer production, 3 prime to 5 prime run will be carried, and 5 prime to 3 prime RNA polymerase is formed. And firstly, if you see the diagram, first what happens, DNA double strand will be bound with DNA A protein. If you see those round circles, that is DNA A protein, and after that DNA gyrase and DNA helicase will act on this, and on the other side DNA primase will act, and it will produce a primer. And here after that this single stranded binding proteins will bind. Okay, before single stranded binding proteins bind to the double stranded DNA, melting process will carry it, and a replication fork is formed. And if you see this, single stranded binding protein will bind at this region. An arc is formed there now, so at that region, and by the action of primase, primer will be formed. So this is how our replication fork will be formed by the melting process. Okay, so this is the initiation process. Here what happened, first DNA A protein got bind to the double stranded DNA and helicase, and by the action of helicase and the gyrase, unwinding carried and melting process started. After melting, what will happen, replication fork, Y-shaped replication fork is formed, and at this single strand binding protein will bind, so that this particular Y-shaped replication fork is not dissociated, which is not uh, which is not further bound to each other, and it will stop the reassociation of this particular DNA parent DNA template. Okay, and next primase will act on the RNA, complementary RNA, and it will form a RNA primer. So next step is elongation. That means this primer with the help of the primer, elongation, help of the primer, elongation will carried, and elongation is carried with the help of this primer. The free primer RNA provide the initiation point for DNA polymerase and for the sequential addition of deoxyribonucleotides. That means for the addition of deoxyribonucleotides, this particular RNA primer will be helpful for the initiation. And the elongation includes leading strand synthesis and lagging strand synthesis. Okay, elongation is again can be carried in two ways, leading strand and lagging strand. First, let's see about the leading strand synthesis. The replication of 3' to 5' strand of the DNA molecule proceeds continuously known as leading strand. That means if the replication is carried in the 3' to 5' direction in the DNA molecule, it is called as leading strand and it proceeds from origin to replication fork. The DNA polymerase III binds to the 3' hydroxy group of primer, then adds the deoxyribonucleotides continuously to form leading strand. What will happen here? This leading strand replication or leading strand synthesis, in which replication process will is done in the direction of 3' to 5' direction. Here the process will move from 3' to 5' direction on the DNA strand, and it means it will start from the origin of replication fork, from the origin site of the replication fork, and the DNA polymerase III will bind to the 3' hydroxyl group of the primer. That means as this primer attaches to the DNA template, and that particular primer will have 3' hydroxyl group, and at that position DNA polymerase III will bind, and this DNA polymerase III will help in the addition of deoxyribonucleotides continuously to form leading strand. Okay, and now let's see about lagging strand. Replication of 3' to 5' strand. Just wait. After the this leading strand, we are going to say about this lagging strand. Replication of 3' to 5' strand is continued for some time. Primase again initiates primer synthesis on the 5' to 3' strands near the fork. That means what will happen here, after leading strand synthesis for some time, that means replication will be carried from 3' to 5' direction for some time, and again this primer, what it will do, it will synthesize the primer again, and this particular primer will start its action from the 5' to 3' direction from the fork. Okay, and the 3' OH of primer RNA provides initiation point for DNA polymerase to catalyze replication of 5' to 3' strand. That means again the same process, both replication process is same in both leading and lagging, only the difference is direction of the action. Okay, leading strand will be moved from 3' to 5' direction, and lagging strand will be moved from 5' to 3' direction. In both the process, what will happen? Firstly, primer will be produced from primase enzyme, and this primer with 3' OH group is produced, and this will bind to the DNA template, and after that what will happen? DNA polymerase 3 will bind to the 3' hydroxyl group of that RNA primer, and initiation will start from 3' to 5' direction in leading strand and 5' to 3' direction in lagging strand, but the process is similar. Okay, and the replication of 5' to 3' strand proceeds discontinuously, known as lagging strand. That means here in lagging strand this replication process is discontinuous, whereas in leading strand this is continuous process. It proceeds from replication fork to origin lagging strand, generates polynucleotide fragments called okazoic fragments. That means the DNA fragments or polynucleotide fragments produced by this lagging strand are called as okazoic fragments, and these are discontinuous fragments. And the replication of these strands is discontinuously, and it can be initiated several times, and even every time one okazoic fragment is produced. That means this particular initiation process will be started, and one polynucleotide fragment will be formed, which is called as okazoic fragment, and again initiation will be started, and again one more okazoic fragment will be formed, and this process will be discontinuous, and it will be initiated several times, and as a result many okazoic fragments will be produced, and the RNA primer associates with the newly synthesized DNA strand. This RNA primer will be associated with the newly synthesized DNA strands, and the okazoic fragment is digested by DNA polymerase and fill the digested part. Okay, that means here what will happen on these okazoic fragments? DNA polymerase will act and it will digest it, and small fragments of the discontinuously synthesized DNA are called okazoic fragments. These are produced on the lagging strand of parent DNA. These okazoic pieces are later joined to form a continuous strand of DNA. DNA polymerase 1 and DNA ligase are responsible for this process. Okay, as these okazoic fragments are discontinuous and small fragments, these are uh, uh, all these okazoic fragments are joined by the action of DNA polymerase 1 and DNA ligase, and a single polynucleotide DNA strand will be produced. If you see the diagram here, DNA protein will bind to this double stranded DNA, and one in both the double stranded DNA, one strand will have 3' to 5' and other strand will be 5' to 3', and a replication opening will be formed and DNA protein will bind to it, and later by the action of RNA polymerase replication will be started. What will happen? Lagging strand, it will work from 3' to 5' direction. Lagging strand is 3' to 5', and leading strand, that is 5' to 3', and there will be origin of replication. If you see this, you can leading strand is 3' to 5' direction, and it will here in the leading strand 5' to 3' direction DNA segment will be formed, and in the lagging strand direction will be 5' to 3', and 3' to 5' DNA fragments will be formed, and here okazoic fragments are produced, and here if you see this okazoic fragments, two fragments are present here, and these are again attached and joined by DNA polymerase 1 and DNA ligase. So this is the elongation process. Now let's see about termination. How this termination will be carried in E. coli. Okay. In E. coli termination is nothing but the stop. This is a process for stopping this replication process. Okay. In this E. coli, termination is signaled by specific sequences called TER elements, which serve as a binding site for protein TUS. That means here protein components like TER and TUS are involved in the termination. Okay, and here this termination require TER elements. These are specific sequences TER elements, and these TER elements, that nothing but termination elements, these will provide binding site for the protein TUS, and this TUS proteins bind to the TER element and stop the DNA B from unwinding DNA. Okay, that means the TUS proteins will bind at the TER element and stop the DNA B from unwinding DNA. That means unwinding means if the unwinding is carried, what will happen? This DNA will reassociate and the replication fork will be stopped. Okay, and this because of this unwinding, it will stop the movement of replication fork, and the leading strand is replicated up to the TER element, while the lagging strand replication is stopped 50 to 100 base pair from the TER element. That means the TER element which is present on this DNA, till that TER element, this leading strand will be replicated, whereas lagging strand will stop its replication at the 50 to 100 base pair away from the TER element, before the TER element. That means lagging strand will be stopped before the TER element, and leading strand will be stopped at the TER element. And it is significant that TUS proteins is able to stop fork movement in only one direction. That means replication fork movement will be in only stopping of this replication fork movement by TUS protein is only achieved in one direction. That means either this leading or lagging, it will work, and automatically it will stop in the next one. And this is the termination. So what happened in this replication? A DNA template will be present, that is provided by a parent DNA, and DNA A protein will be bound for the opening of the DNA, and next DNA helicase and DNA gyrase will bind, so that unwinding will be formed and a opening will be formed, and a Y-shaped replication fork is formed, and their single stranded binding proteins will bind to that particular replication fork, so that reassociation of that particular DNA strands will not be observed. And next, primase enzyme will synthesize RNA primer, and all this process will see in the initiation step. After initiation, what will happen? Elongation of that particular DNA will be seen, and it will start with the action of DNA primer, RNA primer by DNA polymerase 3, and it is done in both leading and lagging strands. Okay, leading means it will work in the 3' to 5' direction, and lagging means 5' to 3' direction. Okay, and here process is same, but what is the major difference between leading and lagging? The movement or the direction. And in leading stand it is continuous process, whereas in lagging stand it is discontinuous process. And what will happen here? Small polynucleotide fragments will be formed and we call them ocazoic fragments. And after replication process, what will happen? This particular ocazoic fragments will be joined with the help of the enzyme DNA polymerase 1 and DNA ligase. Okay, these two enzymes will be helpful for the joining of these ocazoic fragments. And finally, after elongation process, we'll see termination. In termination, here TER elements are present on that particular DNA, and leading strand will stop its replication at the TER element, and lagging strand will stop its replication before the 50 to 100 base pairs of this TER element. And here termination can be achieved by attachment of TUS proteins on this TER element. Okay, and apart from termination, we also have different kinds of inhibitors for this replication. That means there are few chemical components which can stop replication. That means they inhibit them. They inhibit the replication process. And let's see about few of the inhibitors of this replication process. Duromycin and Dreomycin and duromycin are the antibiotics. Okay, most probably all the inhibitors are antibiotics, and here duromycin and andromycin are the antibiotics, and they are synthetic chemotherapeutic agents and are inhibitors of both DNA replication and for transcription also. That means whatever the replication and transcription processes that occur in prokaryotes can be inhibited by this antibiotics or chemotherapeutic agents are nothing but these are utilized in the treatment of cancers. Chemotherapy, these are chemotherapeutic agents which are used in the chemotherapy treatment of cancers. Okay, so these can inhibit both DNA replication and transcription in prokaryotes. These are presumably act by interfering with the passage of both DNA and RNA polymerase. They have planar aromatic ring system which gets intercalated between GC pairs of the double helical structure. Thus, they prevent its replication and transcription. Okay, what they do is they interfere in the DNA and RNA polymerase passage, and their structure, that means these therapeutic agents will have an aromatic ring system, and this will bind to the intercalate to the GC pairs. Okay, it will bind, intercalation means it will this GC pairs will bind to the all sides of this ring system. Okay, and excuse me, and by this will be replication and transcription process will be prevented. And one more antibiotic is Azithromycin D. Azithromycin D, it is a common antibiotic and it is produced from Streptomyces species, and it can also inhibit replication and transcription. Okay, and the next one is ethidium bromide and proflavin. Ethidium bromide, you all very well know about this chemical. We'll use this ethidium bromide in agarose gel electrophoresis and polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, and sodium dodecyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. Mainly we use this ethidium bromide in electrophoretic techniques. Okay, and we all know this is a carcinogenic component. That means it can cause skin cancers, or it can induce cancer when we touch it with our bare hands. So while doing this electrophoretic techniques also will give a caution before ahead to wear hand gloves while holding this or while working with this ethidium bromide. So this ethidium bromide can inhibit transcription and replication, and here proflavin is also a chemical. These two they inhibit both replication and transcription by intercalation process only. And prokaryotic DNA gyrases are specially inhibited by these two classes of antibiotics. One of these uh, classes includes the streptomyces derived novobiocin and others. Okay. Finally, this ethidium bromide and proflavin, which is an antibiotic, this can inhibit this replication process by intercalation. And the next one is it contain, and the other contains the chemically useful synthetic antibacterial agents like oxalic acid, and these both classes of antibiotics profoundly inhibit bacterial DNA replication and transcription. That means these novaviacin and oxalic acid, these are the components produced from streptomycin, and these are also inhibiting this replication and transcription. And the last one is rifamycin. This rifamycin is also an inhibitor of this DNA replication, and it will inhibit RNA polymerase. So RNA primer for leading strand synthesis is not available, and the replication inhibited. What will it do? It will act on the RNA polymerase, and RNA primer for leading strand synthesis is not available. Primer initiation will be majorly influenced, and due to lack of primer, there will be no replication process. And the rifamycins are a group of antibiotics which are synthesized either naturally by the bacterium Amycloptopsis mediterranea or artificially. Okay, we can artificially synthesize this, and also we can naturally synthesize this bacteria from this antibiotic from bacterium Amycloptopsis and mediterranea. So these are the major antibiotics or major chemical components which inhibit replication process. What are they? Duromycin, andriamycin, actinomycin D, ethidium bromide, and proflavin. And in this proflavin antibiotic group only we have different kinds like novobiocin or components like oxalic acid and rifamycin. These are the few components which can inhibit the replication and also transcription. Okay, and how these inhibition of replication is helpful? If, for example, these all antibiotics are meant for action on bacterial infections. Okay, so for example, any bacteria enters a human being, and if it starts replicating, and finally it will cause infection. Okay, and so these antibiotics will act on the replication process of that infected bacteria, and they will reduce the, they'll stop the replication process, and they will inhibit this replication process, and finally ultimately they'll stop the infection. Okay, so these antibiotics are helpful. This inhibition character of these antibiotics is helpful in the uh, medical purpose, and these antibiotics are effectively are utilized for the bacterial infection treatments and all. Okay, so this is about replication. Here in this, what we have seen: initiation, elongation, termination. Okay, and also we discussed a few inhibitors of this replication. So while listening to the class, please keep the material provided for you with you, and please refer the material and listen to the class. Okay, and also refer to the old classes once again. If you have any doubt, please contact me, and uh, for any further queries, please contact me, and thank you, students.